me, Blaire Hastings, and you're watching Underground. And actually, I'm like super excited because I have the director of education from Arkansas Cinema Society with me, Rachel Norris. I wanted to ask you a little bit about what Girls Film Lab is about. So let me know about that.
Yeah, so it's a month-long program. We just wrapped up our fourth year actually, and we bring in about 15 girls from all over Central Arkansas. We've had folks from Conway, we've had folks from Sherwood and Jacksonville, Benton, kind of, come into the space. And the goal is to teach them how to make a film from start to finish.
Hmm.
So they write their own script, they go through the pre-production process, they produce the short film, they edit the short film, they work with the local composer, sound designer. We bring in professional industry filmmakers from all over the state who basically mentor them about how to host a specific role. We have people who are acting as wardrobe, hair, makeup, people who are acting as the gaffers, people who are doing the sound mixings, people who are the cinematographers, and they truly get to work in a very one-on-one, intimate space during that short film to really learn
Mm.
about how to do filmmaking, which is just really incredible because there just aren't enough girl filmmakers just in general.
Yeah,
It's a really
I
small
hear you on
percentage.
that.
Yeah, for reals. Like I recently visited a Mara Vista film that was here shooting a few weeks ago here in Central Arkansas, and I think I saw maybe three, possibly four girls on the actual film set. So it was just like as crew, and so it was just kind of like just the number is just so small.
Yeah.
So we're excited to be able to provide a space
Right.
for that.
Well, and I think I saw an interview that you were doing for one of the local news channels down there. And you said that it was like 30% of women
Mhm.
in comparison to males
Yes.
on the film set.
Yeah.
So I know that that is such a small percentage, which it is fine. Like if everybody, I mean, like one day I hope that people would be kind of getting hired for their talents and not
Mhm.
necessarily for, their gender and like just kind of like that's my vision. But I know that it's
Yeah.
going to be a small progression because nothing that is great is going to be overnight. And
Mhm.
I think that for me, being a kind of a person in film and just loving it and that being my passion, like I would do this if I wasn't getting paid for it. In fact, I
Mhm.
sometimes I'm like not paid for it,
Right.
because I'll ask some of my friends who are also fellow filmmakers to if they need assistance, because that's the craft. But it's just wild because I don't think right now people assume that, I'm not the role that I have. For
Mhm.
example, I was the assistant director for a couple of films, and then just people just were not expecting it. And so
Yeah.
when I came up to that kind of that role, it was kind of like, who is this person? Like, why
Mhm.
is she
Yeah.
bossing us around? And
Yeah.
it was not like not a bossing per se, but it was just like a sense of urgency and just how production goes. So
Yeah, and I think in general, there's like this sense that females take on like a very stereotypical role, like a hair, makeup, wardrobe person, or even like a producer, because that's like has a lot of clerical aspects to it.
Mhm.
Um, and the percentage of women in those fields is a lot higher. But
Mhm.
when you talk about like a cinematographer or you talk about like a gaffer or someone who's doing sound mixing, it drops to like 3% or less.
Mhm.
And so being able to give women and girls an opportunity to take on a traditionally held role by a male, I think is really
Mhm.
important. And that's one of the things that we kind of focused on in the girls lab is making
Right.
sure that you're not just we're not just talking about hair, makeup, wardrobe. We do those things because, of
Mhm.
course, those things are so important in a film. But also, like, someone has to hold a boom mic. If you don't have
Right.
good sound, like that film is trash. Like, I'm sorry, like, it has to have good sound, and so that's an
Right.
important role. And
Mhm.
people kind of don't always think about like the extremely long list. If you ever go
Mhm.
watch Marvel and then sit there and wait
Mhm.
for all of those credits to roll. And it takes an army of individuals to be able to make films like that.
Right.
So it's exciting to be able to kind of open up that space so that they
Mhm.
realize like there are opportunities to do more things than just the stereotypical roles that a
Right.
person might assume that a female would have.
Right, that is so inspiring. I'm so glad that you have that and that it's moving forward. I hope to maybe join and just be a little bit of
Yes.
a kind of like talking to those girls, you know,
100%. No,
because
you're coming. Don't worry. You're signed up already.
I'm
I
like,
hope you
I'm
know
in.
that.
But yeah, so a little bit about me is that I was really reserved as a kid and, you know, conspiring like all these different stories, but I had never had an expectation to, you know, do something like this. And now that I like
Mhm.
think about, you know, the little 7-year-old Blaire, it's just like, you know what, you can do it. I know that you
Mhm.
have like this passion for, you know, acting and singing, but you can also do something that is you know, very rare because like
Mhm.
you know, being a woman and then also being a diverse woman, that's not necessarily something that is known in the film community, but
Definitely.
hopefully that will change a little bit and let people know that they can do that. Um, so what do you see the program for Girls Film Lab to progress in the next 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think bigger. You know, like ultimately the goal is bigger. So
Mhm.
we do think it's important that there's a very intimate opportunity for girls to work with a mentor in a very hands-on way. I think if we had 10 girls all following the cinematographer, it wouldn't be the same experience.
Mhm.
But so when I say bigger, I don't necessarily mean the single program, but just more programs.
Mhm.
And being able to do them all over the state would definitely be a goal. So you know, we do Central Arkansas and we do have folks, you know, traveling into Little Rock from 30, 40 minutes away. But if we were
Mhm.
able to be in El Dorado and, you know, Jonesboro and Fayetteville, I think that there's just so much talent everywhere.
Yeah.
Um, and being able to be intentional about where those places are,
Right.
and where films are being made, right? So a lot of films are being made right now in Northwest Arkansas because, of course,
Mhm.
the Ozarks are beautiful. Why wouldn't they be? And so I think, you know, being able to intentionally be like, okay, let's do a lab here where we know more films are being made, so then they can go intern on those films, get more
Mhm.
hands-on experience, and then get hired on the next one. Like that's a really important aspect of the film lab. So I think we've had a couple of our girls actually go on to be on some of the films that are happening around the state and intern on
Ah.
them. So it's like really exciting to be able to see that come to life.
That is so cool and super inspiring. Like you have a heart for teaching others, and I can totally tell that. When you're an adolescence, teenage girl, it's like so
Mhm.
hard to not compare yourself to other people, you know, social media, and then we have like magazines. And so this can create some sort of confidence for these individuals and then give them like another aspect of what they can do. And instead of
Mhm.
the world telling them that they can't do something, this is like
Mhm.
one of those things where you're like, okay, you can do it, girl. Like,
Yeah.
like I want you to succeed, and there's nobody that can tell you no. This is Blaire Hastings and Rachel Dillon, and we're signing off. Bye.
Thanks everybody.